we've applied our Hermetex colloidal silica. We've let it sit on the surface for about 30 minutes right now, and I just want to bring up an important point here. Now again, depending on what it is you're densifying and the porosity of the concrete, or if you over-apply a silicate type material, sometimes you'll get a little bit of a residue on the surface, and I just want to demonstrate right over here. You can see that powder. See the powder that we're getting off? That's just basically material that's just laying on the surface. And for me, I'm not a big fan of going right over that with a diamond. So I would prefer to remove that, because what happens is this powder can start to load up on the bottom of your diamonds. And inevitably what will happen is you'll see swirling when we get into the higher grits. Remember, this is a 800 grit that we're about to run. And I just don't want that powdered residue to end up on our diamonds, because you pretty rest assured you'll see the swirling left behind. So we're going to dry buff it with a red pad, and then we're going to vacuum that residue and then move on to the next step. Now on large commercial jobs, what I normally do is I'll just run an auto scrubber over it to remove that residue. Once it's dry, you're ready to move on to your next step. Okay, we've just dry buffed with the red pad. We showed you that little bit of built up residue. Now what I'm feeling is a very smooth surface. It feels great. So I would just be concerned, had we left that residue on there, it would have started to collect on the bottom of our diamonds, and pretty rest assured it would have left a swirl pattern. So do yourself a favor, just do a cleaning right over the surface. Now we do have the white pad, which is our 800 grit. So we're gonna see what we get. I am going to turn the machine speed up 1 notch. We already have our vacuum ready to go. And this is the grit that we should start to see a pretty decent shine. And we'll get busy on it. Remember, I'm looking down, I'm evaluating. I want to make sure I don't see any swirling. As I mentioned, the 800 is the wow factor. We're starting to get a nice gloss on it. I can, as I'm running the machine, I can definitely see the overhead lights reflecting. Now we're going to go with our final diamond pass, which is our yellow pad, which is a 1500 grit. Again, I'm going to advance the machine where it's running pretty fast towards the upper portions of what the speed's capabilities, what the machine's capabilities are. All right, we're getting down to the last phase of our polished overlay here, our Param 6000. We're about to apply the Hermetex protector. What I like to do prior to the application is I like to just clean the floor so there's no residual. And one way to do that is you can just clean the floor with a high-speed buffing machine. So we have what's called a DIP pad, which stands for Diamond Impregnated Pad, and we have a 3000 grit. We've got really great gloss, and the clarity is actually really good as well, but this is just going to help take it over the top. And then as soon as we run this over it a few times, we'll put our protectant over the top of it, burnish that in, and this we'll call good. just out of curiosity, we wanted to take a gloss reading prior to the Hermetex shield that we're about to apply. And most specifications, by the way, call out for that. They'll have a specification that reads a minimum gloss value of, say, 50 before you put the stain protectant on there. So let's see what we get. Now keep in mind, you need to just rub your hand so you don't have any particulate, and also you don't want to put it over the top of the piece of a glass or something like that. It'll give you a false reading. So wow, we're in the high 50s, 59.5, so we're easily there. And typically when we put our stain protectant on the top of it, the gloss value is going to go up as well. So this looks great. Clarity is really great on this. I can see the light filaments already before we even burnish. So we're going to go ahead and put the protectant on there. We're going to start off by having Brian, it's just a small area, so we're using a hand squirt bottle. Typically you'd have it in a pump sprayer. All right, and now just mist it right on the surface. Typical coverage rate is going to be 1,500 square feet to 2,000 square feet per coat per gallon. A little more over here. More. And that glass is beautiful. Wow. Okay. Okay, keep going out there in the middle. Across that way. Keep going that way. Yep. Okay, so now our next step is we're going to give that probably 15 to 20 minutes to dry, and then we're going to run our diamond impregnated pad. We're going to do it with a 3,000 grit diamond pad, and this should really take this little panel right over the top. Should be a really beautiful panel, both with gloss, clarity, and actually the color looks great. Very intense color. 20 minutes has transpired since we applied our first coat of Hermetex shield, and now we're going to run across it with our 3,000 grit diamond impregnated pad. For good stain resistance, we're going to recommend that you go ahead and apply that second application, and followed by this burnisher as well. Okay, we're getting ready for our second application of Hermetex shield, and we just out of curiosity, we went ahead and took a gloss reading, and we jumped up into the mid 60s. Yeah, I think the reading was 64. So this is our second and final coat, and as I mentioned, the clarity and the gloss on this is over the top. Looks really, really nice. I'm actually more of a fan of clarity and than gloss. I really like to see that clear floor, and we have it here. So let's go. Let's put it on. A little bit in this corner right there. Got it. You got it. That's good. How you're applying it. Okay, here's our last and final burnish with our Hermetex shield. We'll see what we get in terms of the gloss, and this one will be complete. All right, we did our final burnish with our 3,000 grit diamond impregnated pad, and this really looks nice. We got a gloss reading of 62, which is really good on this type of material. Keep in mind, we have all of this glass, so you've got to go in between the glass when you're doing your reading. Just a very brief recap. We poured Param 6,000. We went ahead and broadcast our decorative glass into it, came back the following day, roughly 24 hours later, and we hit it with an 80 metal bond, followed by a 150 metal bond. Then we went to a 100, 200 pad, basically, that's specifically designed for overlayments. After the 200 grit, we applied Deso dye and cleaned the residue, went to the 400 grit, applied another application of the Deso dye, cleaned the residue. We densified it, and then from there, we cleaned the residue off with the red pad, vacuumed it, went 800, 1500, and then 2 coats of our stain protectant, like you see right here, burnished in with the 3000 grit. And it's a really great looking floor, so we're super pleased with it. Every project has its own unique qualities. For this reason, that's why it's important to consult your Duraman representative for project-specific questions. Now, you may have questions on mix ratios, which is certainly listed on their website, or other project concerns such as moisture. Now, the industry standard is 3 pounds of moisture vapor transmission in 1,000 square feet in a 24-hour window. Now, Duraman has a complete line of moisture-related products. For example, Purdue MVT will take 8-pound readings, and it'll cover up to 8 pounds in 1,000 square feet in 24 hours. Purdue MVT Plus will get you 18 to 20 pounds of moisture vapor transmission and bring it down to within acceptable tolerances. And also a great system to consider is Purdue UMC, which is the urethane modified concrete, which is good up to 18 to 20 pounds of moisture vapor transmission.